This summer marks 50 years since one of the most important periods of the civil rights movement. To commemorate it, a New York gallery is showcasing some of the photos from that time with a large collection by acclaimed photographer Bruce Davidson. His work's been shown at the Smithsonian and the Museum of Modern Art. But back in 1961, he was a young man with a camera in the midst of a moment in history.
I was skinny, I was quick, I was fast. The cops couldn't catch me.
The South was incendiary when Bruce Davidson joined up with the Freedom Riders in Montgomery, Alabama in May of 1961.
What was it like on that bus?
It was tense.
The bus was making its way across the South to protest segregation, but a previous bus had been set on fire and some of its riders badly beaten.
Were these squad cars escorting you?
Yeah, they were escorting us out of town.
Did you know what you were getting into?
No, I didn't know. I suddenly felt a little scared when the soldiers had fixed bayonets and live ammunition, and the police, everyone was hostile.
Where is this, if you remember?
That's Birmingham.
Birmingham, Alabama, 1963. A young black woman is restrained by two white policemen.
One of the things that I felt important for me was to always be close. Yeah. So I'm virtually ready to be arrested here myself. Yeah. You can see that the police are twisting her arm.
Were you aware of what the movie marquee said?
No, I didn't. No.
By coincidence, the film playing that day was Damn the Defiant.
What are you trying to get in a single shot?
Well, I think that for me, there's an accumulative effect to the number of photographs that I make that move together pretty much like a charcoal needs its other charcoals to burn.
How many pictures did you take in the South?
Probably 5,000.
Davidson's civil rights photographs are being exhibited this summer at the Howard Greenberg Gallery in New York. The red light in his New York studio tells you Davidson still develops his own pictures. Half a century ago, he was doing it in a one-room garret in Greenwich Village with a mattress on the floor.
And a red bulb in the refrigerator so I could get frozen Hershey bars out at night and print. So I was kind of a monk.
It sounds like you basically lived to take pictures.
That's it. I was a picture junkie.
Davidson had been making his living shooting fashion.
You had a contract with Vogue.
Yeah. I couldn't come to grips with what I was doing with a fashion model and what I was experiencing in the South. And I gave up my Vogue contract.
He went south without a specific assignment. He wanted to get close, but not too close.
For instance, I stayed away from meeting Dr. King. Every photographer in the world wanted to be his best friend.
Why did you stay away from him?
I wanted to see who he really was and what was happening to him.
Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children.
He captured Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the historic march in Selma in 1965 and at a news conference in Birmingham a few years earlier.
And I was intrigued by the expression in his eyes. Mm-hmm. And with the press kind of waiting down on him.
You ended up spending 4 years on this story.
Yeah.
You kept going back to it.
Going back.
Because?
Because I felt there was something important there for me and something that reached inside me. And when I started to see how bad things were for people of color, I realized that my life has to do something about that life. Mm-hmm.
So you changed down there?
I changed, yeah. Definitely. I definitely changed.
And Bruce Davidson's pictures would change how we saw America.
Davidson has said his mission was to make visible what appears to be invisible. The show at the Howard Greenberg Gallery in New York runs through the end of the summer, and it's an exceptional show.
Anthony, you always bring us great stories, and I love Bruce Davidson for knowing as a photographer to join up with the Freedom Riders, to be with them in 1961, and then stayed on this for 4 years to photograph this moment in history in people's faces. absolutely incredible.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he was from the Midwest. I mean, he ended up in New York because he was a photographer, but he was the Midwest. And he said, honestly, when he went down there, he didn't know anything. He sort of followed a hunch, went down, and found himself in the middle of this. And it literally, as he says, it changed his life.
Were his pictures published at the time?
They were. He went down without an assignment. He had a grant later to shoot, but to shoot young people. But of course, they started getting published quickly.
All right, Anthony, thank you for that.